I'm going to talk about something a little bit different today. I'm going to move away from 27 meg CB and talk a little bit about the other alternative that we have, PMR 446, which is a fun little band, and I like it here because living in North Wales I've got lots of high hilltops where I can park up in my car and get incredible distances. And this is my 100% legal and legitimate PMR 446. Get up on the hilltop, switch it on, and it's amazing what you can get with it. It's quite an old one, an old Motorola XGN 446. Is it? Yeah, XGN 446. Quite old, but sadly, because it's old, it only has 8 channels. And of course the PMR 446 band gives us 16 channels these days. I also like listening when I'm driving around in my car, and I've had this just propped up on the dashboard somewhere, driving around, and set it to scan, and you hear all sorts of interesting events. And well, there's a chappie that drives around doing driving lessons with motorbikes, and he provides entertainment, of course, telling them to turn right and left. The local car boot traders, they're all using them for chatting and organising what's going on at the car boot, and lots of people using it for leisure as well. If there's any events, any rallies or anything going on, you hear it. So it's interesting, and it's also interesting driving on the hilltops and seeing what you can do. However, I wanted to sort of move on a little bit, and so I decided to get a little aerial on my car. And this is my mag mount, which I have on my car. I've no idea where it came from originally. I don't know. Looking at the connector on it, little tiny screw thread. I don't know. No idea. But I've used this on my car, and of course to use this I had to get a different PMR 446 radio. I had to get one with a connector. So I got one of these many Chinese ones which you can get, Retovitas and UVR or whatever they are, such a lot of them, that give you a connection. Of course they're not strictly legal because we're not supposed to have detachable aerials. But I could then put this on the top of my car, drive around to my heart's content, and away you go. SWRing it was a bit of a problem. It was a case of get one of these little tiny SWR meters. The one I got was this one here. Surecom, is it? I don't know. SWR 33. Yeah, I think Surecom. But I find it confusing because I'm used to the twin meters, or the forward and reverse switch on the CB radios, where you switch it to forward, put the needle on forward, switch to reverse, and see the difference. That makes sense to me. However, this is a digital thing. So we switch it on, and now I'm told that with that little marker being in the bottom there, that indicates it's on the SWR setting. So we put the radio is on. If we cue up the radio, now I've got a dummy load plugged in. A dummy load simulates a perfect aerial, so it will show a perfect SWR, and this is what a perfect SWR looks like. They are 1.01. Now that really doesn't make a lot of sense to me, but that is it. That's what a perfect SWR looks like. So we've got the SWR meter, confusing as it is. We've got a little handheld here with a socket. And this ridiculously tiny little aerial, which if we get the tape measure and we measure it, we'll we'll screw it out of the base. And I have SWR'd this in. Seems ridiculous driving around with this on the roof of the car, but it measures 13.5 centimetres or 135 millimetres. 135 millimetres, and that gives me the perfect SWR on PMR 446. So it just feels a bit stupid driving around with such a tiny little aerial. It really does. And therefore, I decided to look around and see what else there was. And I've come across this in the adverts. Sirio, of course Sirio make aerials for everything, don't they? And this is Sirio SU 375-480 and it works between 375 and 480 megahertz. They provide you with a cutting chart, and you're supposed to cut it to the measurements they say. And that's what I'm going to do. I've got one of these now, and my trusty hacksaw. So here we have a Sirio, which is supposedly capable of going on PMR 446 by shortening it. I've read the instructions as best I can, and I've come to the conclusion that I want to cut it about there. I put this tape on to mark it. I want to cut it about there, the bottom piece, beneath the coil, and I want to cut it about there for the top section. That's going by the instructions. So I'm now going to switch the camera off, and I'm going to wander in and out. I've got my hacksaw ready somewhere over there, and I'm going to wander in and out now, chopping little bits off at a time, and I'll see what happens. And when I come to a conclusion, I shall put the camera on and give you the measurements as to what we finish up with, and if it is possible to get a decent SWR with this aerial, and of course with that meter. Okay guys, well I got there, and that was a very scary job. Is it still showing? They are. If you can see that 1.01, which is exactly the same reading as we got with the dummy load, and the dummy load is supposed to act like a perfect aerial. So that's it. I'm not going to dare to touch any more, because I'm not going to get a better reading than that. I don't understand this meter. I do admit it, I don't understand it. I much prefer the old-fashioned meter. But there we are, we're now getting a reading the same as we got with the dummy load. And I will now measure what we finished up with. It was scary because I was chopping a little fraction off each end, a bit off the top, a bit off the bottom, using my junior hacksaw with a broken blade, because I broke the blade on some other project earlier in the week. But there we are. So that's it. Let's do a measurement. Oh. Activity on channel 19. Wow. Somebody about. If I key up I might get a response. But let us get this off. Very delicate little grub screw. But I want to measure it as accurately as I can, in case anyone wants to follow in my footsteps.
Hello.
Hello, that's Stuart in Abergele. Stuart, you're going to be famous. Right, so we measure from the actual coil. Hello. Go away. We measure from the actual coil.
Hello.
Hello. I suppose it would help if I answered you with the mic. Okay. From the actual coil, the tape measure is touching the coil itself at the joint there. To the very top of the cut here is 480 millimeters. 480 millimeters exact. That's the top section. And now we'll measure the bottom section again from the actual coil. From the coil to there, 10 centimeters. Well, 100 millimeters I should say, 100 millimeters. From the bottom it's actually 102 millimeters at the bottom. 102 millimeters, which is a bit different to what they said. They said 70, but where was they showing it measured from? Oh no, same. Yeah, anyway, this is what I'm getting. 102 millimeters there, bottom. And 481 millimeters top. 481 millimeters. That is the measurements that I've come up with, and it's giving a pretty much perfect match. So that's it. I can't improve on that. I'm just going to take the tape off now. Take the tape off my aerial. Just remove the burr a little bit with my file. Bit of this burr, and call the job done. Because I'll be frightened of taking any more off. Now I've reached that reading, it can only go worse. So let's see if Stuart is still about. Hello, person shouting hello. No. It's gone all shy now. Well, that's the conclusion of that video anyway. Thank you for watching. I hope that's been helpful. This is a demonstration of tuning the Sirio SU 375 onto PMR 446 channel 8. And I have tried the other channels. I've gone around the channel 1 to 16, and I'm getting the same reading, 1.01, which is the same as the dummy load. So thank you for watching. I hope you found this useful and interesting.